Just over 2 years ago, here in Tahrir Square, an outpouring of joy and relief at the ouster of Egypt's former dictator, Hosni Mubarak. Amongst those swept up on that tide of emotion, Mohamed ElBaradei, the Nobel Peace Laureate and former head of the IAEA, who'd returned to his country to lead calls for the president's ouster. Today, the country has a new leader, but many contend that under Mohamed Morsi, nothing has changed. And in an increasingly divided nation, ElBaradei and his opposition secular bloc accused the president of hijacking the ideals of the popular uprising. Despite calls by the president for national dialogue, ElBaradei has, at least until now, refused to negotiate. The polarised atmosphere only heightened after a recent fatwa issued by a hardline Egyptian cleric against Morsi's opponents. So what's next for Egypt and the man who returned to his mother country to lead a revolution? Do you want Mohamed Morsi to step down?
No, not at all. I mean, again, a lot of people out of anger right now. You see a lot of those in the street, a lot of the demonstrations saying he failed miserably, and he needs to step down. I think, I'm not of that view. I'm saying we need the country to move forward. It is not a question about a person. It is not really at this stage.
But you called him a pharaoh.
I called him a pharaoh, and he can maybe reform himself and become a Democrat. I mean, he still has a chance. Being an elected president, it's like a driving license. It is not for life. If you make horrible traffic accident, I mean that driving license you will be stripped out of it, like Mubarak did.
I put this to you: better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Many people since I've been in Egypt have said to me, we would have been better off with Hosni Mubarak.
Unfortunately, people start to reminisce about the time of Hosni Mubarak. I mean, that's how depressed people are. That's how disappointed people are. They were saying, yes, there was a lot of repression. We still have repression. Torture, we still have torture. Lack of economic opportunity, we still don't have it. Lack of social justice, we still don't have it. But at least we have law and order. At least we have 7% growth. And so people are saying, well, maybe we would have been better off. But nobody is saying, Mubarak, I mean, there was a...
Bring him back.
No, there was an uprising against Mubarak. But the writing in the wall also for Mr. Morsi, that, if he doesn't shape up, people are not going to, to sit around and commiserate.
Is this a failed state, Mohamed?
It is right now, it is a failed state. We are very much on the list of the failed state. I think we were number 45 last year. We are now number 31. I mean, it's not the greatest honor to be on the failed state. But by all by all governance indicators, as I mentioned, law and order, political participation, economic opportunities, respect for human rights, we are a failed state. The economy we are about to default probably in 2 or 3 months. Law and order we are turning into a militia-like state. I mean, we are a failed state, but we can switch it.
You've called for national consensus, though in the past you've rejected national dialogue. Why are you doing that now?
I never rejected national dialogue, Becky. I mean, as I said, a month and a half ago, I was in Brazil. Mr. Morsi called me. I came back. I had an hour meeting with him. All the other political opposition figures had a meeting with him. We never opposed a dialogue. I mean, this is our only salvation, is to work together. But as I said, as I have always said in my life, you have to be, before you step into a political dialogue or into a dialogue, you have to make sure that there is good faith.
Would you welcome more overt US support for your opposition movement, or do you think that would be counterproductive?
I think it would be counterproductive. I mean, it depends what you mean by support. I expect governments even to stand up and be counted for values they believe in. I mean, when they see a dictatorship, a constitution that it's dictatorial, that botch up balance of power, that impinges on human, freedom of religion, they have to say so. But that's different from interference in our, in how things will be managed here, how we manage the transition, how we manage our own development of political system.
How can Egypt secure this IMF loan, what it needs from the outside world?
I think we desperately need the IMF loan, because I've been talking to the European, to the American, to the Gulf. Nobody is putting money here until we get the IMF loan. So, but for that, the IMF, as a professional, they need to make sure this is a certificate of trust in the Egyptian economy. They need to see that the economic fundamentals are in the right direction. And right now, they are all bust.
You're back. It's been a long couple of years for you, and you now have a fatwa against you. Were you surprised by that?
I'm more sad about it because it's...
Does it frighten you?
It doesn't really frighten me personally, but it frightened my family. Of course, it restricts my ability to move. But it's sense of sadness I have that we have reached that stage when you are using and abusing religion, for political ends, and we have reached to that level of violence, by providing license to kill in the name of Islam. I mean, it just shows you again how far we need to go to become more tolerant, more open, more inclusive society.